Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Tick, Season 1, Episode 8. It is called After Midnight. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. Now, two things that had slipped my mind, and then this episode quickly reminded me of them were, one, the giant naked man that was a crisis that was currently ongoing.
Yep.
Which made me chuckle again. That was good. And then two, Midnight the dog, who's doing a book tour because he used to be with the super team, was it the Flag Five, and he was the dog, and everything with him was destroying me this episode. Of course, it highlights when Overkill ends up in the same room as them, and they argue, and there's a line of dialogue from Midnight that broke me as a human being. It absolutely broke me. They're arguing because they were saying, because earlier on Walter's like, he brings up to Arthur, he's like, because he's a superhero buff, and he's at this book signing, and he's like, and the reason why our team's here is because Midnight knows Superior, so he can warn them that terror's coming after him, right? That's the whole thing. And Walter's like, there's actually kind of 6 members, and because there's 5 people and there's a dog. But then it's a little bit murky because Overkill had a different name and he was the sidekick of one of the main teams. So the debate between them when they're arguing is, was the dog the mascot for the team that was 5, or was he the sidekick to one of the 5? So he was like this extra person on the side.
Was it 5 and a mascot, or was it 5 and a sidekick?
But the line that broke me, the line that absolutely destroyed me, was when Midnight says to Overkill, "You were just here because you were the sidekick. You were like a Make-A-Wish kid that just wouldn't die." I was not prepared for that line. Never mind coming out the mouth of a dog.
The one that we follows up as well goes, "Bite me."
Oh yeah, it's when the Tick grabs both of them. He's got a dog up in one arm and he's got Overkill in the other. And Overkill says like something, he started it. He's like, "Bite me." I love it so much. And of course, the other running joke that I absolutely love, that it started last episode really, is Danger Boat being in love with Arthur. Basically, Arthur just comes onto Danger Boat to talk to Overkill, and Overkill turns to Danger Boat, as in the AI, right? And he's like, "Hey, I thought we were to have security protocols." He's like, "Yeah, but it's Arthur." And Arthur walks. He's like, "Hey, Arthur." He's like, "Yeah." And my favorite part is at the end when he's walking out. You just hear Danger Boat go, "Bye, Arthur." He's like,
Yeah.
"Bye, Danger Boat." And all I could think was Arthur has no idea that this is a romance.
None of them do, I think, because obviously the Tick probably just went over his head.
Oh yeah, he does.
As everything does.
And he forgets everything. So even if he did get it at the time, which I don't think he did, but
and I don't think Overkill knows.
There was another time as well where he just says like, "Oh, Arthur, can Arthur come over?"
He just keeps mentioning him, doesn't he?
Yeah. And then later on when it's like, and Overkill's like, "Oh, you guys can stay here," because Arthur figures out he used to be the sidekick. He figures out because he lost his arms and his hands and his eyes, and we see that Overkill's got robotic hands and he's got like the eye implants, and he's like, "Oh, you guys can stay here," and like Overkill's just so excited. He's like, "Oh, that's exciting." Yes, Arthur. He just keeps saying Arthur, and every time he says it, it's got that crush kind of tone to it.
It does.
He likes Arthur a lot.
Oh, Danger Boat is the best.
And it's cracking me up something awful. But it says something that was topped by the Overkill Midnight fight.
Oh my god, this episode's so funny.
There was a small plot beat that might be important later, but when the Tick zips up Arthur's bags, one of the antennas comes off of the suit.
Yeah.
And they made a point of showing it, so I feel like someone will use that to track them down probably later or something. They'll have a homing beacon or something stupid like that.
Yeah, something like that, or balance of something will be off, maybe.
Yeah, it'll make the suit, and he'll have to go back for it, and that'll put them in danger or whatever. I don't know. You got these things. So that's the thing. I don't know if they're hinting that Dot and Overkill may have a romance later, because Dot seems to.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if it's just kind of a respect thing or if it's actually hinting that there's going to be like a funny, awkward romance between them when they're so different, which could be entertaining.
It could go either way at this point, and I'm not against either way.
Yeah, her obviously is happy to see Arthur, as is the Tick, who hugs him very tight. And no one kind of really follows when he says that the scientist is only like 35 inches tall.
Yeah, I'm like, why don't you just say 3 feet?
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, just say 3 feet. Yeah, but hey, because he's Arthur, I guess.
Yeah, it struck me as really weird because I'm like that's basically 3 foot, right? It's like very close.
It's not like he knows the exact height anyway. It would be ballparking it, so 3 feet sounds like it's more what we could say, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. But Dot's main thing this episode is she realizes she's still got Overkill's gun, so she goes to the shooting range just to because she feels like unsafe and she knows she's got connections because we know she like patches up some of this gang at some point and she's like, oh, I can get some info, I can get some intel.
Yeah.
And we see her at the shooting range practicing with the gun, and she's like, at first I wasn't even seeing where the holes were going, and you kind of see them at the edge of the paper, like not in the target itself, just at the edge of the white paper, and then she sort of like she looks disgruntled and she's like, I'm doing this. In like slow motion, it comes up. The music ramps up. The bullet comes out. We get slow motion of the bullet flying out of the gun, and then it hits closer to the target, but it's still like way over in the dead space.
Yeah, I'll say this bit didn't land for me at all because I feel like most times when it's doing these things, it kind of subverts the cliches and the tropes. Whereas this was like, as soon as it started doing the slow motion,
you knew it was
like,
going to miss.
All right, I see where you're going. And it just went on a bit. It just went on too long for what it was.
Yeah, okay. It was only one scene though, so I didn't really.
It was. It was just as a joke, it didn't land for me.
I love the running joke that Walter, not Arthur's dad, is he always talks too much, so he gets an answering machine message from him. And there's just minutes and minutes of nonsense before he gets to his point. Yeah, that's a running joke I enjoy.
He does the same as well when they're at the book signing. He starts going, right, have you got tickets so that we can get up for the book signing? And he's like, well, funny story. So I thought about buying these things. And it just goes on for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's a credit to it. There's a lot of really good little running jokes that are all, because we don't get Walter every episode. We get him every few episodes. So it's always funny when he pops up. It's never feels overused. So, no, it's good fun. There's a mysterious villain, by the looks of it, that shows up at the end outside a danger boat. Someone's... And it may even track them with the antenna that we mentioned.
Yeah.
But that's a cliffhanger before we go to the next one. But hey, so... No, I think this was actually a really effective episode again because it felt like there was a clear focus to it, and that was, okay, who is Overkill? Why does he have this drive and motivation? Why does he care? And because I think up until now, like, he's been amusing, but he's very much this two-dimensional, the gruff vigilante.
Yeah, and now we're going, okay, why is he jaded?
Yeah, so we get that answer. We get, he was part of the team, and he lost his hands and his eyes, and now he wants revenge, and that's what's made him become so dark. And he's dropping F-bombs left and right, and he says that Arthur's the same. Like, you want revenge too. Why the hell are you researching this all these years? Like, that's what you want.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have that hero's journey for Arthur where he decides, does he want revenge or does he want justice, and we'll get those decisions. Because I think what's really smart about this show is that while it's subverting a lot of the tropes and ideas, it still at its heart has the core messages without.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it's ironic in that sense. It feels like, no, it genuinely is rooting for those messages. It's just.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So I think that's.
Also, as we were saying, Overkill soften a little bit. Where okay, then as he accepts that the tick did save his life, and he's like, he thanks him for it, and he's like, all right, I owe you my life, which, seeing as you can't die, you gotta just go with it, and he makes him promise not to kill any more people.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's cold, man.
Yeah, but he agrees for now.
So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if if that's like a struggle where he wants to all the time. If it's like, it's like a Deathstroke thing where he's like, oh, it's killing's who I am.
I'm just expecting to go around kneecapping everyone.
It's basically that joke in Terminator 2 when he swears not to kill, and then he walks up and shoots the guy in the leg. He's like, he'll live.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that being a thing. Yeah.
Well, that's surprising. I enjoyed Superior at the start on the TV interview.
Yes, not remembering, because at first it's like he's not remembering the guy's name. He's not remembering because the wife of the giant man, because he used to be a normal sized man, and something's happened to him. And
clearly the same thing that's going on with that doctor who's shrunk. But
the opposite.
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably the same process, the same thing that's happened.
Yeah, the reverse of it, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's come from the same place, is what I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then the sequel was Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Like,
right. Sure, that's your go-to example, but fine.
Yeah.
I feel like the more obvious one to go to now would be, Ant-Man, Giant Man.
But I grew up with these. I'd never heard of Ant-Man until like 3 years ago. So,
Fair enough.
also bizarre side bit here. We just recorded television from the multiverse before. Fun enough, the third Honey I Shrunk the Kids film called Honey I We Shrunk Ourselves stars Alison Mack as a teenager from Smallville.
No, never watched that one.
Look at that. Ugh, I'm in a Smallville reference. Unlike the superior television show, the hit television show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Right.
That's not a reference. That's just saying its name.
I'll take it.
I won't. I will not stand for this.
I disagree.
All right, fine. I can't argue with that.
I was actually at a Disaster Artist reference. But my favourite line in the entire film is him saying I disagree. I won't spoil what he's saying I disagree to, but
It's good.
it's fantastic. Anyway, so what were we saying?
Superior.
Oh
Giant
yes,
Man.
forgetting the names. And at first I was like, okay, he just doesn't care about people, so he forgets the names. But then instead of saying he's a landscaper, he says he's a skyscraper. And I'm like, does he not know what a landscaper is, or is this a joke because he's so tall?
I think it's because he's so tall. It's on the mind. It's like skyscraper, huge. He's like a skyscraper. Oh shit.
Or is he an idiot as well? Like I feel like
the little column A, little column B.
yeah, probably. I feel like it may be a bit of both. But yeah. So that was a funny bit, and it again it kind of reminded us of a couple of things that I'd forgotten to set up because it's been a while.
I had forgotten about the Giant Man.
I had, but as soon as and that kind of worked in a weird way because when I saw this guy with his family when he gets kidnapped, I'm like, who's this dude? I was thinking this is a new character, we'll see, and then it cut to him as I was like, oh yeah, he's a giant naked man.
Yeah, I was like, I remember that now.
Yeah, so that was good fun. And you know what I'll say the dog talking effect doesn't look too bad.
It surprisingly doesn't.
And it feels like they had the dog sitting there, and it's only the head that they're actually manipulating because a lot of the dog just looks real. Like when you look at the sort of the body and the fur, it looks like a real dog. It doesn't look like CG or anything like that. So,
not too challenging. All you gotta do is make a dog sit still.
but yeah, I mean, if you know what you're doing, I'm sure you got a good dog.
I mean, I would like to think a TV show could find a dog with the ability to sit still for 5 minutes.
Yeah. But no, it's good stuff. Also, a dog saying that he's got a camera like the photographer is like, oh, I shoot nature mostly. It's just a hobby.
Yeah, he's got a coffee table book coming out.
Yeah, and I want to see him handle the camera because we see him like close a book at one point, and it is like like a dog would with his nose. He sort of like does that and flips it over, and I'm like, how are you controlling a DSLR camera? Like,
I feel like it's on a tripod. He's just kind of pressing it with his nose.
all right.
That's my best guess.
So how long does it take him to set up a shot though? He's adjusting his focus with his nose as well, is he? With the ring at the front.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And he goes, looks back, looks at the screen, and goes, no, it's not quite right. Walks back around, give it another little nudge.
Yeah, I like that the terror wasn't in this episode because it let us focus on other things, and it makes him feel a bit more. I feel like if we were getting, what's his face, actor's name.
Jackie L. Healy.
Thank you. I feel like if we're getting him doing his hamming up every episode, it'd probably get old. But again, much like the running jokes with Walter, I think spreading it out is actually benefiting.
Because he's only really been in the 2 episodes properly, right? We had a little flashback near the start.
Yeah, he was in the flashback in the first episode. Then he was kind of missing for most of the first half until the final episode of the first half, and then he was in that last one.
Last episode.
But I actually kind of appreciate that because it's like the myth of the terror rather than just the man. Like the idea that he's out there.
Yeah, because you don't want him to just be like, okay, he's here, but he's not really a threat because nothing happens every episode with him.
Which reminds me, Arthur's like, he didn't just let me go. Miss Lynn let me go. She gave me a key and told me how to get. Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, let me out.
Oh, damn it.
What's he planning? Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they're not just living at his house. He's going home, and he tries to offer Gary money for keeping an eye on his apartment, and Gary's like, money's an addiction.
Yeah. I like it was like Gary's like, I'm already doing it. I'm keeping track. It's like,
oh, because he's like, I can keep track. I was like, oh, I'm already doing it. You went in 10 minutes, 30 seconds ago, and you just came out with a tick right now.
You left about now.
I like the. I hope he's got like a record book somewhere. He's keeping track. He's just.
Yeah.
He's writing it down. Right.
Definitely.
and goings of Arthur's apartment. Which will be handy if anyone ever suspicious shows up and Arthur's like, hey, you got that record? And he's like, yes, there was a man with a beard and a pointy hat.
I hope it's really vague. Whatever when they go, when he sees something, it's like, all right, what did you see? It's like someone.
Someone. Was it a man or a woman? Oh, that's a sexist thing to notice.
Yeah.
What race? Oh, that's a racist thing to notice. Oh, what
How tall are they?
Yeah. Oh no, you don't want to make a small person feel like they're being victimized. Skinny or fat? Whoa! Slow down there. There's some sort of bigot to you. Yeah, I can see that scene. So,
I think, especially after the way you treat the money question.
Yeah. So it was a person, presumably. It could be. Can you tell me it was a human being? Was it a human being and not an alien? Can you tell me that?
I can't say with any certainty.
Dear. Was it Overlord called Tick at one point? Was it a big blue Yeti? I think it was.
Yeah.
And the Tick kept asking questions like, "What's a Yeti? It doesn't matter." And then later on, "What's an Uber? It doesn't matter."
I love that Overkill gets an Uber.
Yeah.
It was just that cracked me up for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just him going, right, where's my Uber? And then Dangerbo being like, your driver's name is whatever it was.
Yeah. That was good fun. So still enjoying the Tick, clearly. We should be back with another episode review tomorrow. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Getting us in the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv, and there'll be a link to that in the description. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?